amigos que ven, escuchan y siguen su podcast En la banca con la número 9. El día de hoy tengo una invitada que estoy muy emocionada de tenerla en el podcast. Ella es Adrianna, ella es fan de los gigantes. Voy a estar hablando en inglés y en español para poder entrevistarla a ella y también que ustedes puedan entender todo lo que platicamos. Hi Adrianna, I was telling the audience that I have you here. You are a special guest. You're a Giants fan and you make content about the Giants and everything, and that I am really excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like now with the season starting, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, which is exciting after having a kind of eventful off season, but still the off season nonetheless. So it's exciting that there's actually football back.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty excited. I feel like this off season was pretty long. I don't know if you felt the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see the Giants because I'm as you are. I'm a diehard Giants fan from like my teenage years, and I'm really excited to talk Giants and the NFC East. Sorry, the NFC East with you and our divisional rivals and everything about the Giants.
There's a lot to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. Le estaba diciendo a Adriana que vamos a hablar de la NFC East, nuestros rivales divisionales y un poquito de lo que ha pasado con los gigantes en esta pues off-season, ¿no? Adriana, I wanted to start with the Daniel Jones topic because it is really it's something, you know, for us Giants fans. Because we really don't know what's going to happen with him. We really don't know if his season is going to be better than the last season. So do you think his future looks bright with the franchise? What do you think of Danny Jones?
Oh, it's funny. I just got into some heated arguments with some people on TikTok about this because I understand that he's not had a great track record, but I think there's a lot of things that have affected that. And I'm disappointed when I see other fans blaming everything on him.
Yeah.
You know, we all know he's not an elite quarterback. We all know that he needs help from the O-line and he needs healthy wide receivers to get the ball to. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. I do think that this year is going to be one of the better years that Jones has had. I think he's got all the help around him now. He's got a coach that is willing to let him make mistakes, where last year, the last couple of years with Joe Judge as the head coach, there was a lot of talk that came out afterwards that he was very conservative and he was afraid to kind of let him let loose. And I think with someone like Daniel, he needs to be able to do that. He's still very much in the beginning of his career, and he needs to be able to make mistakes in order for him to learn how to fix them. So I think with the O-line coming together better, I think bringing in guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and having Saquon healthy are going to make a really big difference. And I think that we're going to see a good Daniel Jones this year. I think that we're going to see what he was like as a rookie. You know, he had a really good rookie year, and I think people forget about that. So yes, he had a lot of turnovers, but he also had a lot of touchdowns. So I think it's okay if he throws interceptions, if he can make up for it by throwing more touchdowns. So, you know, I don't expect him to come out here and never throw an interception for the rest of his career. I think that's a little ridiculous to assume he's never going to do that. But I'm optimistic about him. I think as long as he doesn't get injured, he really has everything he needs to be a better quarterback. And I see our offense being better. I mean, if it's not better than it was last year, we got problems. So I think it's definitely going to be improved. But I don't know if Jones is here long term. I think even if he has an exceptional year this year, I think it's unlikely that he returns to the Giants.
Yeah, actually, I think practically the same, because I was actually talking in the last episode with a friend that he's like this fantasy football pro and this number, he has all this data and numbers and everything. And he was telling me actually that the Daniel Jones numbers are pretty good, but people like judge him for
Mhm.
the interceptions and everything. And people are still like traumatized from the fall against
Oh
the
my
Eagles.
god.
And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, get over it. He
Right.
ran like 80 yards or something like that. So let him be.
I know, and he got right back up and was fine.
Yeah, and they scored. I'm always with or when people like make fun of me because of that. I'm like, they actually scored on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think Daniel Jones has the odds and the environment to have this this good year. But like you, I don't think that he's here long term. I think that the fact that they didn't give him this contract, the new contract, it's like everything that we need to know from the the general manager and Dable and everything, because it's not their choice. It was not their choice. So I think probably they're going for a quarterback next draft. Probably, I still don't know. And
Yeah.
then we have the Jimmy G gossips and everything. And I don't know. I hope he will have this amazing year for him, but
Yeah.
I think that he'll probably have to find another team for next year or 2 years or something like that. But yet with the improvements on the O line, and if we can like keep the receivers and Saquon healthy, maybe that will make a difference. But I'm not that sure about the receivers, because Robinson is one of the ones of the receivers that I'm excited to see. I'm excited
Mhm.
to
Me
watch
too.
as Tony, as Kadarius Tony also, but I don't know Goladai, and it's really frustrating for me.
Well, especially when, as of right now, technically, guys like Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard are our best wide receivers, and they're both injured.
Yeah,
So that's something else to put into this equation. I think that Wandale is definitely going to step up and be great. I think they're going to use Saquon as a receiver. I think there might be someone like Colin Johnson or Richie James who makes the team as another wide receiver. But it is disappointing when the reports are coming out from camp and practices that someone like Kenny Galladay, a vet in the league who's been with the Giants for a couple years now, is, not producing like he should. And I think part of it is maybe he's not the perfect fit for this new offense where someone like KT and Wan'Dale are. But when KT and Shep aren't in there, Galladay needs to be the one to step up. And he's a big red zone target. So he's tall, he can jump, he, used to be really good at contested catches. These are the things that he should be used for. So I hope that that changes and he improves. And I don't know what it is, but apparently, Dable has talked to him and he has relayed to the media that there's been no lack of effort, if you will, on Galladay's part. So we'll see what happens.
we need to see that. We need to see the effort and everything, because we have a lot of doubts with
Yes.
Kenny Galladay, because what we saw with Detroit and the level that he had before, and right now he's not even there. He's not even close to the level that he showed at some point of his career.
Yeah. And with someone like Daniel, he's not Aaron Rodgers. So he needs all the help that he can get from his surrounding pieces. And when it seems like one of the most expensive and one of the few wide receivers out there who's healthy, like he needs to really step up for him. And I just hope that he does that once the regular season starts.
Yeah, I think we all hope that we all hope for that to happen. But now I'm going to translate a little bit of this for our like Mexican audience, because I forgot the word. Sorry, I'm like I'm I try not to get like twisted with the Spanish and English, but
Mm.
it's sometimes it gets complicated, but I'll try to
Sure.
improve that. Estaba platicando con Adriana este hecho de Daniel Jones como el quarterback franquicia de los Gigantes, su futuro, y las dos estamos de acuerdo, algo que platiqué también con Yayo, si escucharon el episodio anterior, en que sus números realmente no son malos, pero sí, es difícil verlo como a largo plazo en Nueva York, pues porque ha tenido temporadas muy de algunas complicadas, ¿no? Por decirlo de alguna manera, en las que pues le han cambiado al staff 25,000 veces, sus receptores no han estado saludables, estamos hablando del desempeño de Golladay, que no ha sido el esperado, el desempeño de Kyler Stoney, las lesiones, de Saquon Barkley, sus lesiones, Sterling Shepard, sus lesiones, y entonces, pues sí dudamos un poquito de la continuidad de Daniel Jones, pero esperemos que tenga un mejor año y nos dé un recorte un poquito más decente para la temporada que viene. Adriana, I wanted to know, you were there at the training camp and at some of the practices. I think that the work and the content that you created from there was pretty awesome. And I just wanted to know if there is any player that you saw there that you were like, this one I'm excited to see his development or his future and what he's going to bring to the season. I don't know if you saw something special there.
So there were a lot. I won't name all of them, but I'll give my top two. I'll give one on offense and defense. And the first one is Wan'Dale Robinson, because I was hesitant with the pick in the beginning because I felt like we had a lot of receivers and, we needed maybe more help on defense. We needed more with the O-line or a tight end or something like that. So I was a little confused as to why they went wide receiver that early in the draft. But I will say that after seeing him at practice, after seeing a lot of videos that I saw on the days that I wasn't there, I think he's going to be used very creatively. And that's something that we haven't seen in a long time. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think this scheme is going to be different. It's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to see what he can bring. He's fast. He's aggressive. I think he's going to be all over the field making plays. He's going to be taking handoffs. He's going to be running the ball, catching the ball. So I'm excited. I think that every time he's going to be on the field, they're going to have him doing something different and exciting, which is great.
Okay.
Someone on the defense, there's a lot, but with Blake Martinez still being sidelined, one of the guys that I'm really excited about is Darrian Beavers, who is another rookie that we drafted this year. And during the preseason game, he really stepped up and he had a couple tackles, one of them which was for a loss. He was all over the field. And he seems like, he's got pretty good technique and he's fast. So I think that he's going to be able to step in and make a difference right away, especially with someone like Blake being gone. I mean, Blake is a huge presence on the field. He's a leader. He's all over the place. He's always making tackles. And we need someone who can step in and be someone like that. And I don't think that Darrian Beavers is at Blake Martinez level yet, but I think what I've seen from him is he shows a lot of potential and he could be at that level within a couple years.
Okay, that's cool because I had like in my radar Robinson, and obviously you think about Thibodeau and Neil and all these amazing pieces that we got from draft. That I think that was an impressive draft from Shane and Dable. And now that you talk about Beavers, I think that I haven't seen that much of him. I was like, he was not on my radar, so I think it's really important to see like your point of view because you were there and you watch a lot of footage from the training camps and everything, and I think that it's really interesting to see if he gets there to the Martinez level. I think he needs development, of course, but it's interesting because I love how Martinez plays. I love Martinez' strength. I love his like the pressure that he can like bring to the game. And when he got injured, I was like, this can't be happening. And I'm glad to hear that there's someone that can go to his level. And I think that's pretty awesome.
I agree. I'm excited about that. And it's hard to choose because, like you said, I think they did a really good job with the draft this year. And even aside from the guys that weren't drafted, I mean, even Aziz and Leonard Williams, Xavier McKinney, like there are so many really good pieces on this defense that are going to be exciting to watch. So I would say if you're going to watch the Bengals game on Sunday, to keep an eye out for Beavers, because I think he's going to get more playing time.
Perfect. I think that I'll have him in mind right from now on. I mean, I'm going to pay attention to what he's going to do. And now I'm going to the Spanish part. Le estaba preguntando acerca de los jugadores que ella vio en el training camp, que ella vio en vivo, ¿no? De alguna manera, y en todos los videos de los novatos, los que deberíamos estar como observando para esta temporada que viene. Estamos hablando de Wandale Robinson, de nuevo, como uno de los objetivos de los jugadores que deberíamos de tener en mente. Y también me está hablando de Beavers, del lado defensivo, que puede llegar un poquito a equiparar el desempeño de Blake Martínez, aunque todavía no está ahí. Obviamente tiene que trabajar bastante su técnica y todo eso, pero que es uno de los jugadores que podríamos tener en mente. Y creo que eso es bastante interesante. Actually, Adrianna, I was going to talk about Bellinger, our tight end, because I was actually pretty excited about him. I had this good feeling when we drafted him, but he got hurt. I think he had like a little injury or something.
Yeah, he was injured during the OTAs, but he's been back in regular practice. He did get a little playing time in the game. I think that they'll probably ramp it up throughout the next 2 weeks during the preseason games. But I do think that the way, from what I've seen so far of Dable's offense and Kafka, is that he might not get used as much as the Chiefs use someone like Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So I think that he's probably going to be used more to block, which is probably more of what we need right now anyway, since we don't really have some great blockers on offense. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that from him.
Yeah, actually, I was pretty impressed by his highlights, and I was like, he could work in blocking and catching and everything that we need right now. Because we need everything. We need everything on the field. So hopefully he'll have this amazing season 2. And what do you think about the NFC East in general for the next season? What do you think about our rivals, the Cowboys, the Eagles? I hate the Eagles, to be honest with you. And the Commanders. What do you think of our division?
Well, I think they should have kept the Commanders' name Washington Football Team, because the Commanders is 100 times worse.
Yeah, I know.
It's so awful. I think that another year into this division, it's anyone's game. And I think what makes it hard to be a Giants fan is there's no reason why we shouldn't be in the competition. The Cowboys have lost a couple of some of their best guys. I mean, Gallup's not playing, Cooper's not playing. They're both injured. I believe one of their defensive linemen went down too. So I just feel like with all of those pieces put in together, the Cowboys are in theory going to be one of the better teams in the league, but I don't think that they're going to be unbeatable. So I think for a team like us, we have a lot of moving pieces, and I hope that by week 3, when we play the Cowboys, that we're a little bit more, just a little better overall. Like, I just hope that every week we see improvement and that it's not still looking like preseason football for us. And I think if that's the case, then we have a shot at winning. I mean, the Cowboys are really the only team that I'm worried about. The Eagles have Jalen Hurts. I would say the best player on their team right now is probably the wide receiver that they picked up. So what's his name? Brown, I think. AJ Brown. So he's probably the best player on their team. And at the end of the day, a wide receiver is not going to help you. I mean, they will help you win games. It's not going to be the reason you win games. So I don't know. I'm just not afraid of the Eagles. And I'm sure people look at Jones, like I look at Jalen Hurts and I'm like, he's not the future there either. And he's not the greatest quarterback. And I'm sure people say the same thing about the Giants. But then you look at the Commanders. And again, I'm not afraid of Carson Wentz. There is no reason why we should not absolutely destroy the Commanders both times that we play them.
Yeah.
I mean, even last year, we didn't have the talent that we have this year. And I just feel like our defense is going to be really good, that if we can just get the offense to be better and score more touchdowns than we did last year, there's no reason why we can't beat any of these teams at least once. I mean, we should 100% beat the Cowboys, Eagles, and the Commanders. I just think that we have a lot of talent. We now have a lot of talent on the coaching staff. And, you know, if we can keep the injuries at bay, we should be in it just like the rest of them.
Yeah, I think actually that the Cowboys and the Eagles are better in a way, in some ways, if you like look at the overall picture. But yeah, we should destroy the Commanders in both games, and I would be like happy if we win one versus the Eagles and one against the Cowboys. I think if we have like 4 of 6, that would be a pretty good like record, divisional record in a way. And actually, there's a lot of people that talk about the Eagles at this, like if they were this team that's going to steal the division, that they're going to destroy everything, and they are going to the playoffs, and maybe the Cowboys after them. And right now, when they did the AJ Brown move, I was like literally like, fuck, like I was really really angry at that movement.
Yeah.
But right now, I think, as you say, that the Giants shouldn't be afraid of facing Prescott and Hurts and Carson Wentz.
Those are not elite top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe Prescott, but as you said, they had a lot of players that are not there anymore or are injured or anything, and Prescott haven't been like in his best shape for a couple of years now. So yeah, I think we can beat the Cowboys at the MetLife. I hope so.
Me
they
too.
lose too, and because I get really angry when they lose at home against the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Commanders are like, they are there and that's it. But yeah, I think we need to win at least 3 of the 6 divisional games. And I am going to translate this part. Estábamos hablando de cómo vemos la división en general, la división, el este de la nacional en general. Y sí, o sea, creemos que ningún equipo es una maravilla, ni Filadelfia, ni Dallas, ni Washington, ¿no? Ninguno es una maravilla. Los Gigantes podrían competir en el escenario en el que estamos, pero sí sabemos que pues faltan muchas piezas a la ofensiva, el desempeño de Daniel Jones. No podemos criticar tanto a Jalen Hurts porque pues mucha gente hablará de que Daniel Jones es lo mismo pero en Nueva York o peor, y también de que el nivel de Dak Prescott y de Carson Wentz no es el mejor. Entonces probablemente los Gigantes deberían competir ahí, por lo menos ganar 3 de 6 o 4 de 6, ¿no? Los dos contra Washington, 1-1. Si nos va mejor, pues sería lo ideal. Do you think the Giants are going to have a winning season? Because I'm expecting like maybe 7 games, seven wins or 8, but I don't think that they'll get more. I don't know what you think about that.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I think it's too, I think for me, it's hard to picture them with all of the changes and the turnover that they've had. And there's so many unknown pieces. And now with the injuries starting to crop up here and there, I just think it's hard to picture them winning 10 games. And even looking at the schedule, I think there's games that we can definitely win and there's games that we should win. And then a lot of the games I feel like are going to be totally 50-50 depending on that day, injuries, all of those kinds of things, weather, whatever. And then there's probably going to be some, like you look at that Packers game in London week 5, like we're not winning that unless every single player on our team is perfectly healthy and they've won a couple games going into it and they have some momentum.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's going to be really tough for us to win that game. So I think we have to win the easy games. But I think when you look at the schedule, even though it's not that hard, I just can't look at this roster and say they're capable of winning 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, I'm exactly at the same place that you mentioned. I mean, if you look at the schedule, it looks pretty easy for another team. I mean, if that was the schedule for the Packers or for the Rams or the Cardinals or maybe even the Broncos or a team like that, you would be like, yeah, for sure they're going for like 12 victories, something like that. But with our offensive doubts, our our secondary problems and everything, I think, yeah, maybe 8 games would be like our top. And I don't want to be like sad or anything, but maybe I would be pretty sad or even ashamed if they get like less than 6 victories. I would be like, it's the same thing. But I don't think that's going to happen with Dable. I think Dable is going to bring this different perspective and different way of playing the game, of developing some players, and I'm really excited for that. But I am aware of that this is going to be like a process, a 4 or 5 year process, and that's something that we have to accept.
Yeah. And I think for some fans, I think it goes either way. I think there are people who saw the draft and have seen the history of guys like Kafka and Dable and Shane and Brown, and you look at all of that and say, okay, they have an amazing track record. They're going to come in here and year 1, they're going to turn this team around. And I think they're going to turn the team around, but it's probably not going to happen as quickly as those people would like.
Yeah.
And then you've got other people who say we're on our 4th coach in 6 years. You know, we have injuries left and right. Daniel Jones isn't the guy, blah, 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 blah. There's no reason why we're even going to win 4 games. And I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. And I think that once the season starts, we'll start to feel like that we're capable of winning more than 4 games, but we're not going to be a 10-win team that goes to the playoffs.
Yeah, we have to be realistic about our chances and our team, the team that we have right now, and we have to be like really aware of the scenario that we have right now. And I think the Giants are going to have an improvement, but I don't think they have like more than 8 victories. I would be like crying in the floor if that is if we get like 9. I would be like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm not asking for any more.
Yeah, I think that would be best case scenario is we're somewhat optimistic. You know, we're expecting them to win the easy games and maybe they can pull out a win with some of the not so easy games. But if they turn around and they win 8, 9, 10 games, I mean, people are going to be putting up statues of Abel and Shane in their houses immediately.
Yeah, like
like the best case scenario.
They work with what they had, and now we have this magnificent team, and we're going to be like really happy as Giants fans. And I think the league is going to be shocked, but we have to be really careful about that, because we as Giants fans, I don't know if you have the same tendency that I have. Like, we win 1 or 2 and I'm like, yes, we're going to win against the Cowboys and against the Eagles, and I'm really happy, and then I get disappointed and sad and angry, but I'm used to it. Like a decade, like these 10 years of suffering and ups and downs, I'm used to it, so it's not going to be that hard. either.
Being a Giants fan is like being on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
They look good, they win games, and you're like, yes, the team is back, we're gonna do great. And then they lose a couple games in a row, and you're like, this is it, it's all over. It's
Yeah.
brutal.
Then
It's
you're
never
like,
for us.
everyone is injured, and Daniel Jones is. I mean, I wasn't able to watch when Mike Glennon was our quarterback. I was like, this is awful. This is like our lowest point ever. I was like, I
It did
can
not
watch
get
it.
worse than that.
Yeah, and I think like that. It doesn't get worse. It
Right.
can't get worse than that.
And that's why I feel like the people who think we're going to win 4 or 5 games, I'm trying to understand it from their point of view, because I get it. We've got a lot of turnover on the roster, in the front office, in the coaching staff, etc. Totally understand that. But when you look at the team that we had on the field last year, where Mike Glennon was our quarterback, we were running third and 8. We're running a quarterback sneak. I mean, like, you can't, that's a 4-13 team. This team has got to win more games than that. I just think comparing the two teams alone, there's no way that you could look at this roster with the new coaching staff and say they're going to be 4-13. It just seems so unlikely to me. I will be horrified if they go 4-13 again. I will be absolutely baffled.
Yeah, because we have all these hopes around Dable, and we can picture like Brian Dable from the Buffalo Bills with 4 wins. I mean, it's like yeah, I can think about that. I think at least 6 or 7.
Yeah.
and we will be like, okay, that's fine. It's what we expected. I don't think we will be mad if they get 8 plus.
Right.
Yeah, like cool. That's cool. We're going on the right path. Now I'm going to translate because our fans may not understand all of that. All of what we said, but I'll try to make a little translation. Estamos hablando de cómo los gigantes podrían tener el récord que podrían tener los gigantes, ¿no? En la próxima temporada estamos hablando de probablemente arriba de 6 juegos, entre 6 y 8, es como la parte realista, ¿no? Como fans. Si hablamos de más de 8 juegos ganados, sería maravilloso y no podríamos decir que Dable y Shane están haciendo un mal trabajo. En cambio, si hablamos de 4, sería como, no, estamos mal otra vez y sería terrible, pero no, o sea, con las dos estamos de acuerdo en que Dable debe de traernos como que esta revolución al equipo de que se pueden tener más de 8 victorias, y si son más de 8 victorias, sería maravilloso, aunque no se gane la división, aunque no se pase a playoffs, sería maravilloso para el desarrollo del equipo, aunque sabemos que son 4 o 5 años de reconstrucción y de un trabajo interno que se tiene que hacer muy, muy fuerte y cambiar la mentalidad del equipo y de los jugadores para que realmente se compita dentro de la división, ¿no? Adrianna, do you think that, I mean, I know that the Cowboys and the Eagles are the strongest teams there in a way. In paper, they are like the strongest team there. But which one do you think is the best team in the division? Like, if we need to take off our jerseys, our fans' ideas and everything, and our hate for each of those teams, which one do you think is the best team in the division right now?
I feel like I would pick the Cowboys. And I say that because I just think their level of talent overall is better than the Eagles. Like, when you look at the Cowboys last year, their O-line was good, their run game was good, Dak was good, the defense was good, special teams was fine. I think when you look at it from all of those aspects, from last year to this year, yes, they're missing some guys this year, but there wasn't a huge roster turnover. So I I would pick the Cowboys. I think that they're overall, to me, they seem like the better, more talented team.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like good because I'm like divided, you know. I don't know if I have to pick the Eagles because I don't want to pick the Eagles.
I know.
Even
It's so
even
hard
if,
to pick them.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to say that the Eagles are going to steal the division, but I don't know if the Cowboys are are like this bipolar team that has all these weapons and has had all these weapons over the last few years, and they have the best quarterback in the division. I
Mhm.
think that's the real thing. But
Definitely.
I mean, they can like win the Giants for yeah, like over 30 points and like have these amazing games, and then they can win, and when they are in playoffs they just blew it, you know. So I don't know. It's a hard pick for me, but I think I have to say the Eagles because the Cowboys are like this roller coaster of
Yeah.
emotions and of talent and everything. And I don't know. I think their year was last year. I don't know if they are going to have another opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see what the future has for them. I hope they lost all of their games and they lose all of their games and then I prefer the Commanders up there. To be honest with you.
Oh my god, 100%. I would take the Commanders. They're so not a threat at all that I honestly, if it's not the Giants, I would be happy to see the Commanders win because I would
Yeah,
take them 10 out of 10 times over the Eagles or the Cowboys.
yeah, me too. I'm always like, yeah, go Commanders
Mhm.
when the Giants are in there because I hate the other two. The Commanders are like, okay, you're fine, go ahead, but
Yeah.
the other I can stand them. I'm like, yeah, no, I get angry when they win.
Oh, it's the worst. Well, and that's a good point that you made too about the Cowboys that last year probably was their year. I mean, it was the best record they've had in a while. They had all the talent. They had the playoff spot, they had every opportunity to win and they just couldn't do it, which I think is one of my favorite things about the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Is that they have all of the pieces. They're the only one of the only teams out of the NFC East to make it to the playoffs. And what do? They blow it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
what's better than that?
They get there and you're like, yeah, they're going to blow it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way that the Cowboys are going to Super Bowl, and every year you hear the same about them. Like, this is the year. This is our year. No, it's not the year, and it's not going to be the year for some time. I hope.
That I think is the good thing about Giants fans. I talked about this recently with someone is the Commanders fans are oblivious. I mean, there was barely anyone at their training camp practices, nothing. And then you've got the Giants fans who are diehard. They're in it every year, wildly disappointed that the team has sucked the last couple of years, but still invested.
Yeah,
And then but not also like I don't know any Giants fan that I've spoken to that has looked at this team and said, "We're going to the Super Bowl this year." Like, we're not delusional or crazy. We're relatively normal, if you
yeah,
will. And then you got the Eagles fans who are absolute psychopaths, just diehard lunatics who would rather beat the crap out of people than actually watch their team play. And then you've got Cowboys fans who are just straight up delusional, saying every year, no matter what happens, they're like, we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, you keep believing that, buddy. You whatever makes you sleep at night.
yeah.
Not even close,
Actually,
but okay.
that's the perfect description for each fan base, and because yeah, the Eagles fans are like this crazy, like they would bite you, they would like hurt you and everything, and then you have the Cowboys fans that are these people that dream of their team winning every year, and they're like yeah, I don't care if we lost against the Atlanta Falcons, I don't care, we're going to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And then the Commanders that are just there, they exist, and they are there. And us Giants fans were like, yeah, we're not that good, but we love our team, and we are there and supporting and everything. But we know that we're not going to the Super Bowl for like 4 or 5 years until we get competitive. And first we have to win our division, and then we'll see. And we have this I think this beautiful connection with our team, and the other ones are like pretty crazy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm going to translate this part. Estamos hablando de el mejor equipo en la división para cada una de nosotras. Adriana me menciona que para ella son los Cowboys por lo que tienen en talento, todo eso. Yo estaba hablando de los Eagles por todo esto que se menciona de que tienen el equipo mejor armado, que hicieron un gran draft, toda esta parte, pero pues que ninguna de las dos quisiera que ni Cowboys ni Filadelfia estuvieran metidos en la conversación como mejor equipo de la división. Preferimos a los Commanders, a Washington ahí arriba, antes que a Dallas o a Filadelfia. Y de los fanáticos de cada equipo, ¿no? Que Filadelfia son estos fanáticos como muy, pues sí, muy intensos, muy locos de alguna manera, y de que, pues sí, o sea, se ponen muy locos en los divisionales, se ponen muy locos en general si tocas a su equipo. A los Vaqueros, que son este equipo que los fanáticos todos los años del clásico, este año es el bueno y este año sí ganamos, y viven ahí, ¿no? Aunque no ven tanto la realidad, no podemos generalizar, pero pues es hablando del fanbase, ¿no? Y de los Commanders, que pues ahí están, existen, ahí están. Tengo algunos amigos Commanders que los quiero mucho, a Mike e Íñigo, por ejemplo, que creo que son muy realistas con lo que es su equipo, pero sí, y nosotros, los fans de los Gigantes, como que sabemos que no vamos a ir al Super Bowl, no vamos a arrasar con la división tampoco, pero estamos ahí apoyando, y eso es una dinámica muy bonita dentro del fanbase también, y creo que por eso amamos de alguna manera a nuestro equipo, por lo que representa para los fans. And now, Adriana, that we talk about the division, the Giants, our rookies, our quarterback, I wanted to ask you about your favorite memory as a Giants fan, and your favorite Giants player or ex-player. I don't know if you have like a memory that you are like, this moment made my life better.
Yes. So I will never forget the first Super Bowl. Well, the first Super Bowl when I was alive in 2008. I was in high school at the time, and the town that I grew up in is pretty small, and we had a group of very close friends. So because it was the Giants, we were all Giants fans. A close friend of ours had a Super Bowl party, and it was with all of our families. So there were probably at least 30 to 40 people there. And we're all huddled around the TV in the family room watching the last drive, and just kind of like all fingers crossed, like, can he do it? Are we going to make it? What's going to happen? And I will never forget that catch. The Manningham catch, it was hysterical to me because, like I said, I was in high school at the time, but all of our parents were there. And we all were, it was like the room went silent for 1 second because we were all in shock. And then 1 second later, the parents, I have never seen parents like this. It was hysterical. They were jumping up and down, screaming, high-fiving, like my dad's running, high-fiving other people. We're all like, oh my God. Like it was insane. And it was just so, I like remember that moment so vividly because all collectively, we were all just like, holy crap, like we did it. We are going to do it. Like we're going to win. This is it. Eli's going to pull through. And I mean, it was just the best. Like I always think back on that Super Bowl and I'm like, I don't know if there's ever going to be a moment that beats that, because it was so like raw and exciting and crazy. But speaking of that, so I really grew up during the Eli era, and he has always been my favorite player. And I feel like it's so cliche to say that, but he he really is the reason why we won those Super Bowls. And I think for a lot of us who, I mean, I was 14 at the time that he got drafted. So I really got to see the beginning of his career all the way until the end. And from, you know, the tough times in the beginning to winning the Super Bowls to the tough times at the end, I think the thing that I really learned about it and about watching him is he was always reliable and calm and steady throughout the whole thing. And I think that's just a really important life lesson, that there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, and you just kind of have to get through it, you know? And I'm sure he had days behind the scenes when he was upset and frustrated and angry by, you know, what was going on around him, and you know, the lack of help he was getting on the O-line for those last 5 or 7 years, whatever it was. But I really love him, I think, as a person on the field and off the field. And I think off the field, he's done so much good in the world, all of the money that he's raised for kids' cancer, and he's so involved in charity and things like that. I was devastated when he retired.
Yeah, I know, I was crying.
Oh my God, I watched the retirement ceremony, and there were two guys on either side of me who are both Pats fans. And I said, I just don't want to hear it. Ignore me. And I just sat there sobbing, tears down my face watching it.
Yeah, if you say a single word right now.
Yes, I was like, if you ruin this for me, I will kill you. Let me enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, I get it. Actually, when he retired, it was against the Miami Dolphins, that game.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and my dad are Dolphins fans, like for life, and they really suffer. Like, yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, poor souls. But I was watching the game with my brother and a lot of Dolphins fans, because he's in a club for Miami Dolphins fans.
Okay.
You know, and I was there. I was the only Giant there with my Eli jersey, and I knew that was the last game, and I was crying like in the bar. I was crying like, no, please, no one speak to me.
Yeah.
And like sobbing, and everyone was like, "Are you sad because he's retiring?" Yeah, he's retiring because they had this like idea of like mine being bad, being this bad player, and I was like, you have to remember he won 2 Super Bowls, and he took away those Super Bowls from your arch enemy. You know,
Right.
like you have to remember that. And they were like, yeah, I get it, but everyone was like, what's wrong with her? Because we won, and they were upset that the Giants won and the Dolphins lost. And it was like, yeah.
It was a sad day for all of us.
Yeah, as it was when they benched him.
Mm-hmm.
But in that one, I was really angry. It was like, I can't stand watching Geno Smith play instead of Eli. And yeah, from the Super Bowls, I remember the catch, the helmet catch and everything. That's the moment when I was a Giants fan, but I was starting to understanding the game. That was my first season being a fan, and I fall in love with that Super Bowl. And for me, the other one, the 2011 one, was like my best memory. I was on the floor, like grabbing one of my friend's legs when Gronkowski, like they throw the ball away from him in the last play. I was just crying, and I was screaming like, he didn't catch it, you know. And my friends were like, okay, she's a fan. And that's the best memory for me. Like the fourth Super Bowl is like amazing. It's the best memory for me. And yeah, I love Eli. I think you have like Eli Manning letter, or you wrote a letter to him.
Yeah, so I have a blog that I write on sometimes, and after he retired, I just felt like I was like, he's probably never going to see this, but if he ever comes across it, like, I just want him to know that there are, after he retired, so many people were like, he's washed up, he sucks, this, that, and whatever. And I'm like, you guys forget what he did throughout the height of his career. Like, most people don't have an amazing year every year throughout a 14-year career when you're talking about the NFL. The guy never left a game with an injury.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you can't count out how reliable and what a leader and all of these things. So anyway, I just was like, I was crying after the retirement ceremony, and I was like, I just want Eli to know how much the fans love him and like what he meant to me. So I just wrote this letter that's on my website, and maybe one day, someone told me recently that, he works in the Giants building. So they said you should print it and send it. I'm sure he would get it if you sent in fan mail or whatever. So maybe one day I will.
Yeah, we'll work as a team, every Giants fan, to get a letter to him. I mean, if we all tag him, he'll have
Right?
to see it somewhere.
That's
That's
true.
like teamwork. Maybe we'll do it. But it's amazing. I mean, it's been amazing talking to you. I'm going to translate this last part, and then we'll talk about your social media and your projects and everything. Um,
Okay.
Estamos hablando de nuestra mejor memoria como fans de los Gigantes. Ella tiene el Super Bowl 42 como súper marcado con el helmet catch y toda esta situación. Y pues hablamos de estos Super Bowls como los momentos en los que pues nos marcaron como fans, ¿no? Y también la carrera de Eli Manning como nuestro quarterback por 14 años, que es bastante significativo, y todo lo que él hizo por la sociedad durante su carrera, lo que sigue haciendo por el equipo y por la sociedad, y lo que representa para el equipo, ¿no? Que mucha gente muchas veces lo ningunea, de que ni siquiera va a ser un Hall of Famer y muchas cosas. Y de hecho Adrianna escribió una carta para Eli Manning cuando se retiró, y estamos hablando de eso, ¿no? De que algún día le llegue esta carta donde le habla de todo lo que significa para ella, o lo que significó para ella también como jugador y como ídolo. Y vamos a hacer trabajo en equipo para que le llegue a Eli Manning, esperemos, esa carta. Adrianna, I'm really thankful for your time, for this chat, for this connection that we had on Instagram, and right now we can say that we are Giants fans, and we are connected in a way,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mexico, you are there, but it's always nice to get to know more Giants fans, especially women Giants fan, and like make this, I don't know how to say it, this female group bigger, because as a NFL fans, we are more women every day talking about NFL and Giants and sports, and it's amazing for me to be able to support and have more Giants fans in social media, and working with them, and getting to know them. And it's been really nice and a pleasure talking to you about Giants and everything. And now tell me about your projects. I don't know if you have any upcoming projects, or what you do on Instagram, that I think it's pretty awesome.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you having me on and reaching out. That's kind of actually why I even started this page in the first place. I moved to Connecticut recently, and I felt like I wanted to be able to connect with other Giants fans locally and be able to have people to watch games with, because I lived in Massachusetts for the last couple of years, and everyone I knew there was a Pats fan.
Yeah.
And none of the Giants games were being broadcast on local TV. So every Sunday, I dragged my husband, who's a Pats fan, to the bar, and I'm like sitting right up against the bar, staring at the Giants TV, like in my Giants jersey, when they're 4-10. I'm in the bar watching the game, like just sitting there by myself. Like it would be really nice if I had other Giants fans to commiserate with.
Yeah.
So this page has been great because I've been able to meet people like you, and I've met so many other people, whether they're in New York or New Jersey. I mean, I even talked to a Giants fan in Australia, which is crazy. And under normal circumstances, you would never be able to connect or meet with these people. So I think that social media and Instagram has been such a blessing for that. So now with the season starting, basically the series that I did was just to kind of entertain fans and keep people interested in the off season by talking about a lot of the former players. Because one thing that I've noticed on social media is a lot of these Giants fan pages are made by younger players who don't know the history of the Giants. I mean, they don't know guys like Joe Morris and Leonard Marshall and, you know, even Phil Simms. So I'm like, you guys, like, Odell Beckham was great, but, you know, what happened in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like those teams were unbelievable. Lawrence Taylor changed the football game. So anyway, I just felt like it was important for people to know all of this and know the rich history of the Giants. They're one of the few teams who have been in the league since it started in 1925. They're coming up on 100 years. So anyway, so I thought it was fun to just kind of talk about some old players. But now with the season starting, I'm going to be focusing on, you know, this new regime, these new players, what the team is going to look like, and just doing game previews. I'll do some game recaps. And I actually think I'm going to be starting my own podcast. So I'm going to be having that coming up in the next week or so. I think I'm going to work on the intro episode today. So I'm hoping that that will just give me an opportunity to talk more in depth, especially when it comes to game recaps and injuries and contracts and all of that type of thing. I think on Instagram, a lot of people don't have the attention span, myself included, to watch a 5-minute video or 10 minutes. So I think that podcasts are really great. And I've been such a huge fan of them. I listen to them while I'm working, while I'm driving, all of that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm excited to just continue to talk more about the Giants. You know, I'm going to continue to be optimistic until they prove to me that I shouldn't be. And, you know, just going to hope for a better season. We don't need to go, you know, 11-6 for this season to be considered a success. I just want to see a better looking offense. I want to see a comprehensive O-line that's working together, and I want to see a defense that is capable of blitzing. And special teams, I'd like to see better coverage there.
Yeah,
But
no,
we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. I'm pretty sure at some point we'll get there, because this team's history, as you mentioned, has been great. You know, it's not about the last 10 years. It's about the whole story. And I think it's amazing that you brought these older players, if you want, or these historic players to a new generation that, as you mentioned, may just know Odell Beckham Jr. and his catch, or even Victor Cruz, that it's a little bit behind Odell Beckham Jr. But yes, I mean, it's amazing that you have these videos and this type of content to bring awareness about the Giants history and what other players meant to the franchise. I think that's pretty amazing, and I wish the best for you and your podcast. I am pretty sure that it's going to be amazing, and we'll be there supporting you and you know, listening to it.
Thank you. Once I get the hang of it, I will make sure to bring you on too. And maybe we can recap a game, or we can do a little preview. We'll do something fun talking about our beloved Giants. And hopefully it will be good stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah, hopefully, for sure. I mean, at least for some games, we'll have good things to talk about, and we'll see some improvements. And I'll be glad to be your guest and talk about Giants, because that's the thing I like the most in the world, to talk about the New York Giants. And where can we find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram and TikTok at New York Giants Fangirl. I post there pretty much every day, a couple times a day. I do a lot on stories, especially with all of the injuries and updates with the roster turnovers, that kind of thing. So you can find all of the updates there. And then I also am on Twitter at NYG Fangirl.
Perfect. I'll be tagging you so people can follow you. Giants fans from all over the world can follow you, Mexico and other places. And yes, I mean, it's been awesome. I'm going to translate this last part and then we'll say goodbye to our audience. But I'm confusing English with Spanish again. Pueden encontrar a Adriana en Instagram, en TikTok, en Twitter también. Vamos a estarla tagueando para que puedan seguirla, todos los fans de Nueva York, en México, en otros lugares donde nos escuchen. Y ella habla mucho tiene una serie en Instagram de videos hablando de jugadores históricos de la franquicia, no tanto de los jugadores actuales, ¿no? Que puede ser que la generación actual conozca mucho de Odell Beckham Jr., de Víctor Cruz, de Eli Manning, pero a lo mejor no conocen tanto de los históricos como Phil Simms, el mismo Lawrence Taylor, Anderson, Strahan, otros jugadores que marcaron la historia del equipo de una u otra manera y que hicieron grande esta franquicia. Entonces ella quiere llevar toda esta información a las nuevas generaciones, también conectar con otros fanáticos. Tiene el proyecto de hacer su propio podcast, que creo que está increíble, para hablar de los gigantes, hacer algunos recaps de partidos, análisis de partidos de jugadores, y pues estaremos ahí siguiéndola para que todos puedan escucharla y pues que esta comunidad de fans de gigantes siga creciendo, ¿no? Adrianna, it's been amazing to have you here, to have this conversation, and I hope that I can have you here as a guest, as you said, for like a recap or a game preview or something like that. That would be awesome.
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me. I love getting to talk to other Giants fans, like you said, especially women who can talk Giants. There's nothing better.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing to find other women fans and talk about Giants, and it's great. Amigos, ustedes me pueden encontrar a mí, ya saben, como la número 9 en todos lados. Recuerden calificar el episodio en Spotify, seguir al podcast en YouTube, el canal de YouTube, la número 9 también así, suscribirse, darle like al video. I'm telling the audience to follow the podcast on Spotify, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that will be tagging you on everything, so they can follow you too.
Perfect.
So, muchísimas gracias por escucharnos. Thank you very much for listening to us and being here for this episode. Recuerden que estamos en el recap de todas las divisiones. Nos faltan 2 divisiones y estaremos entrando a la temporada. Entonces, thank you very much, Adrianna. Muchas gracias a todos los que nos escucharon y hasta el próximo episodio.
Thank you.